What's up, everybody? Got Ryan Ezel here. Good friend of mine. After what? It's been about almost a year now. We've coached through Lucas's program. Ryan's got an interesting story. Corporate guy, decided to jump into the painting business. Came out guns a blazing. Didn't quit his job, even though I told him to. But I know he had a lot going on. Winded up taking the leap. What? A month ago? 2 months? 2 months
Yep,
ago?
yep, month ago.
And that was after you've seen success, right? So you did it perfectly. So man, what brings you, man? You called the meeting. I'd love to hear. You said you got a good topic, man. I'd love to hear what's going on.
Yeah, man. So, I first off want to say, I think drip jobs alongside with, help with, forward media marketing, it's been such a key to our success. I can't thank you enough. I mean, the software has obviously been amazing. The drip follow-ups have been amazing. Um, you know, we jumped into you guys, and it's been it's been awesome, man.
Heck
I
yeah,
appreciate it. The production rates, all that kind of stuff. It's
awesome,
been
bro.
pivotal, and also just making things consistent. But yeah, so the reason I called it today is, like you said, we've had some good success. Um, we're coming up on almost 700,000, and we're coming up on 1 year next month.
Seven
Yep,
hundred thousand already this year.
yep, yep. So it's been awesome. But now we've implemented, project manager. We have 6 full-time W-2 employees now. Um, and my brother-in-law, who we worked together at ADT and did a lot of door-to-door sales together, he's
Sure.
interested now to come on board. And
All right.
honestly, I want to make sure my ducks are in a row. I want
Okay.
to make sure I have everything dialed in. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything before I bring this guy on. And I don't want to harm what we have right now.
Sure. Sure. Man. Well, first element's family. So I assume that since you guys have worked together, that was usually in a capacity of you guys are in the same level in those other endeavors. You're the
No,
boss.
I was his manager.
Were you his manager?
Yep, yep.
Okay, so you already know how he works. So do you have any? Is there any qualms about how he'll interact with you as a leader, or is it more so the processes that you're wanting to hit on?
I think he's a really good salesman.
Okay,
And this, what we have, thanks to you and thanks to Lucas again, and our Google ads and everything, we have a tremendous amount of appointments, which is what every sales guy wants.
sure, sure.
He's in a position now where he does home improvement sales like windows and fences at
So he's already
Lowe's.
in the game. He would rather work with you.
Right. And these guys, dude, they have 2 appointments a day. It's almost an impossible close because they have to inflate the price so much for their services.
Sure.
So this solves a lot of problems.
So look at
I
this.
mean,
I'm gonna speed this up, Ryan, because here's the thing, man. Like CEO mindset is, dude, you're a collector of A players. You have to think that way, whether your business is ready for it or not. And if you think that this guy's an A player, make room for him. Make room for him because here's the deal. You're gonna be faced with two choices in business. You decide to make room for the A player when the A player wants to work with you, or you're gonna need an A player and be in a position of I gotta go find this A player. It's gonna happen, right? And what that's gonna do, let me tell you this one more thing, bro. What that's gonna do is gonna create more of a push for you than you have right now, which is also something that you need,
right.
right? I mean,
I
think
believe
about it.
it.
Think about it. At the end of the day, right now, I guarantee you 100%, you don't have an SOP for estimating right now built into your business.
It's production rates,
Well, that's not an
it's
SOP. I'm referring to the sales process, the
no,
questions, the walk around, all those things that need to be formatted anyway. Because the
right.
goal here, dude, is to be able to package up this business and sell it to private equity. Whether you do that or not, you could sell a portion of it or you could sell the whole thing. You have got to build an asset.
Yep.
It has to be an asset. If it isn't an asset, it's not worth anything. And you're just either going to fade out when you get older or you're going to want to hand it off to someone and it's not going to be a gift, it's going to be a burden. So
No,
when you
every time I heard you say that in the very beginning of starting this, and it's been on the forefront of my mind. Every decision
sell
we've
it,
made,
sell it.
I'm following you. Yeah,
Sell it and then start another one. Here's the deal. You got to build it that way. And one of the elements and one of the bridges you're going to have to cross at some point or another is handing off sales to someone, right? And here's the cool part is you know this guy and he's going to have a little bit of leniency with you because you got to frame it like, "Hey man, I wasn't quite ready for this, but we're going to make it happen." So bear with me as we navigate this, but we're going to build this process of what sales looks like for this company and how it works. Because my thought is you haven't thought about commissions yet. You haven't looked at the margins yet, if it's even possible right now. And maybe that's a concern. Is it a concern?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What's he
I,
making right now?
he's making, I think, 1,500 a week. Honestly, Tanner, I have no doubt that it can work. Just the amount we're bringing in and the appointments we have on a consistent basis. I just want to make sure that, like you said, my commissions are right. If he says, "Hey, I need a base salary," I need to know more structuring elements to his sales commission breakdown.
I feel well, let me make this clear though. At the end of the day, man, like communication when it comes to this, first of all, on a family level, has to be superior and there's got to be transparency. You need to outline everything ahead of time and think of all the worst case scenarios. Worst case scenario number one is you overpay commission and the company's not as profitable as you thought it would be. Here's the problem that you're going to run into is you can only produce a certain amount of work. Okay. You have to keep production increasing in order to satisfy a hungry salesperson. If he runs into a house and says, "Hey, we'd love to do this job for you," and he's building rapport and everyone's happy, and the customer says, "Listen, we need it done in 2 weeks," and he calls you and says, "Hey, brother, I got this customer. It's a killer job. I need it done in 2 weeks. They're going to hire us right now. She's licking her pen to write the check," and you're like, "Dude, there's no way we can make that happen." That's a friction point.
Yep, and that's something we deal with right now.
Well, that's something you deal with right now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's okay because you can forgive yourself. But at the end of the day, here the pressure right now, there's going to be, and as a CEO, listen, there's going to be periods of time where you're in the lab, dude. You're building up production, and then going over here and you're building up sales, building up production, building up sales. Thankfully, you're in a momentum with marketing right now where appointments aren't a big deal. It won't always be like that. So take advantage of this time right now where you feel like you just have abundance, right? This is the
Yep.
time. But the thing is you got to look at it like this. What is the commission structure going to be? You have two ways to build it. Is it going to be based off of profit or is it going to be based off of the sale?
From what I've gathered, inside of a lot of the FMM chat is 7% commission up to a certain point, and then if they exceed that, usually it's $1 million annually in sales. Then we can go up, to 8.5, 9,
I
sometimes
think
even
that's
10%.
stupid. I don't like that at all. I think the reason why I say that is because I have to sell $1 million myself in order to increase my chances of capitalizing. You tracking all that is going to be a headache. Here's what I would do. I would incentivize on self-generated leads. You generate a lead
Absolutely.
yourself, you get 10%. If I generate the lead for you, it's 7%. Done.
Yep.
So now you have a reason to have him go knock doors and have him to be a part of networking groups and have him become a lead source.
Yep. I love that. I was going to say 10% on self gens from day one, too. But another thing is, and this is something that kind of made me uncomfortable. But since he is my brother-in-law, dude, he's not scared to ask for too much. That's one thing I love about this guy. But he did say, like, "Hey, is there an opportunity for potential profit sharing or something like that for longevity? Do I have
Let
anything
me
to look
ask you
forward
this.
to?"
Here's the thing. Here's what your job is, Ryan, as a CEO. Okay. You got to understand, I don't think you're the type of person that's just going to be happy being a painting business owner for the next 20 years.
No,
Is that true?
100%.
Okay. The only way for you to venture out and create another stream of income or do something else, whether that's leisure, time, growth, whatever that looks like, you've got to be able to duplicate yourself as close as yourself as possible. And the only way you could do that is if you have someone else being you while you're not being you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And if you look at the people in your life or people that you would bring into your world, okay, you have the highest chance of someone operating at a high level for you if it's someone that's your family, right?
Yep.
Okay, so check this. You ready? So think about what happens in 4 years from now. Let's say this guy's that guy. Not only does he do sales within the next year, he winds up doing project management. You completely replace yourself. Okay? And he does that for the next 4 years. And while he's doing that, you're building the production, you're recruiting, and you guys are growing this mammoth. You're expanding into other territories, industries. Maybe you're even licensing the model, right?
Yeah.
And all of it's
Absolutely.
possible because he was holding it down. Now, what you could do is you could do what's called a vesting schedule. And you guys can outline a percentage that he will get of the company after a certain amount of time.
What would that time look like to you? Just ballpark.
Generally speaking, vesting schedules are on a 4-year period. So, in other words, you say, okay, well, here's the deal. After 4 years, I'm going to give you 25% of the company based on certain metrics. First of all, we need to grow by X amount each year. We have to be in growth. Okay. And your responsibility is to completely replace me and manage operations after 4 years. You're going to start in sales, but you're also going to be a hybrid. You're going to be managing production. You're going to do what I'm doing. And here's the deal. It's on a 1-year cliff, which means he gets absolutely no equity until he's been working for you for an entire year. Once the first year happens, he gets 25% of whatever you promise him. So if you're promising him 25%, he gets like 7% of that after the first year. Okay? Now, if you guys decide to part ways, he earned 7% of your company for the rest of the time the company's in business. So every time you take out $100, he gets $7, right? But if he stays with you for the 4 years, he gets the whole. So it protects you as the business owner because, again, there's so much uncertainty with partnerships, but it also keeps him motivated, and you can use that as negotiation leverage when it comes to his salary. So you can say, hey, man, typically I would give 7%, but if you want to do this equity profit share, I could do 5% on all the sales and give you a base salary of $50K.
And you're saying, so the first year he stays with me, that 7% kicks in.
After 1 year.
After 1 year,
That's
he
the
would get
1-year cliff. It's
so
a cliff.
technically he wouldn't get it till the second finish of the second year.
Get what?
The 7% of overall profit.
He has to work an entire year with you, and then he gets 25% of the entire vesting amount, right? So in other words, after 365 days, he owns 7% of the company, or whatever that number is. So if, like, an easier example would be if you give him 20%, okay, he'll own 5% of the company. In the following year, he'll own 10% of the company. And then the following year, he'll own 15% of the company. And then the fourth year, he's a fully vested individual in the company. He owns the full. So that's a way that you could structure this. And you're going to want to get a lawyer to kind of facilitate all this, right? Keep things, again, like, you have to decide, like, is this my guy? Like, do I want to do this alone? Am I stretched thin? Do I want someone to share the burden with?
You know,
What I'm
and some
saying?
of that, it's like, it's hard, yeah, but I love the hard. I love the suck right now. I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed. There are times when I am, but giving up part of the company in a certain sense, it's like, hang on a second, I built this thing from nothing, Like, why would I? But then now I see what you're saying. When it comes to growth, at a certain point, it's almost got to be done. No one's going to take it as seriously as an actual owner of this.
No one is. No one's got. You got to have somebody that has That's why it's a vested interest. You have to have someone that's skin in the game,
Right.
like someone that like cares about the growth of the company. And just so you know, he's not doing it just for the 20% profit. This is where the business mind has to come in. And if you guys build a sellable asset that you guys can sell for 2 to 3 million, he gets 20% of that on an exit.
Yeah.
Or maybe
like
you guys
that.
decide to license out your model across the Southeast United States, right? And now we're talking about 10, 15 million in 10 years of an exit to package all those licensed models out, right? I mean,
I
there's so
love
many
that idea.
places.
like there's people in my family even that I trust that are awesome. They're great at sales. They live in Phoenix. They live
Oh,
in North Carolina. They're
gaming
already
is
asking,
happening all over the
franchise
United
me.
States. Dude,
Yeah.
it's you franchise it or license it or something, man. Think long term. And you
Yeah.
got to build your core team. Right now, you're making all the decisions. You're the one up late at night. You're the one running around all day, right? Dude, I know
Yep.
you say you like the crazy, but dude, you don't love it. I mean, you'd be much
Yeah.
happier if it weren't the crazy. You came in just now telling me how you had someone call out today. Dude, this is only going to get harder. I've been doing
Right.
this for 8 years, bro. It never stops.
Yeah.
And I personally don't have a partner. I'm going to need one soon. Even a GM, if I had a brother-in-law that was a salesperson in the home service industry that called me and said, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want to take on some of the load." Bro, I would make that decision faster than I mean, I'd get off the call with you to make that decision. Yes. What do we need to do to make this happen? So I don't have to lose mental energy every day. That's more
And
valuable
bro,
to me
this
now.
this dude, he's got two kids. He just had a third. He's married to my sister. My sister, bro, yo, she ain't playing. Okay. She's so I know that what I'm saying is he's hungry.
He's
He's
hungry.
gonna be all in.
And and you're sowing into your family, bro.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's worth even more. I think if you can provide equity to your family, what a gift. What a gift to be able to secure the futures of your family. I think there's no greater gift. Why give that to someone else?
Yeah, I agree completely. And I trust him more than anybody. I mean, I let him marry my sister, you know?
Like that. I
So
love that. It's awesome.
he was
Like,
my best friend for years. And then he
wow.
came to me and was like, hey, man, would you be
You know,
okay if I dated your
I'm a
sister?
faith guy, man. I believe that God puts people in our lives for a reason. And I think that it's your job to act on it, though. Right. And I think you're leaning toward it, but you got to go all in on it. You got to
Yeah.
be willing to give something up. So think about it this way. You could keep him at the same level that he's been at his entire working life, which is he's paid to build a business, right?
Yep.
Or you can elevate him to where he's paid and he's also profiting on his sweat equity. That is an interesting topic, bro. And I think you should consider it. Find out what that sweet number is. What is that equity percentage? Help him understand. You need to do your research. So when you pitch this, you know what you're saying and you sound certain about it.
Right. So for a short term, let's say commission or salary, if we're doing, let's just say 100,000 a month, we're usually a little bit over that. Our best month's 150. Last month we did 108. So if we're doing that, we're pretty close to a 45% margin, sometimes 50. Can I afford to pay him, 1,000 a week
I want
plus?
you to understand something, dude. You are removing yourself, Ryan. Okay. You have to put a dollar amount to that or it's not going to make sense. Because what you're thinking right now is that I'm losing money, but you're gaining time in the time column that you now will have to grow the business and
Focus on
multiply the
margins.
business.
You're exactly right. That is what I'm thinking. Even when I
So
was walking in here, I'm thinking I'm losing out on that commission that I'm usually making.
you're just occupying a spot. That's all you're doing. When I gave
Right.
up the sales role in drip jobs, I was just occupying a spot that I had to put someone in. That's all you're doing. You're the CEO. Most of what you should be making is profit. Like you shouldn't be making commission. Right now you're making both. And this is going to be tough for you because what's happening is like, dude, you just came out of corporate America. You need to make money. You have a certain number in mind. But brother, if you're thinking about putting someone in a sales role, that's 100K. That's about 100K that's not going to you. But what are you
Right.
going to do with the time that you now traded that 100K for? I think you can generate more than $100,000 if all you're focusing on is networking and growth and recruiting and building systems. Is it more than
100%.
100K? In a whole year, if Ryan Ezel is given nothing but time to grow an organization instead of face to face with customers, dealing with the painters, can you come up with a strategy to generate more than $100,000?
100%. It's
100
easy
percent.
out.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely good. Yeah. There's already things that I wish I could be doing that I can't. Networking groups I'm getting invited to, all types of stuff. Yeah. Commercial opportunities that are within these networks, you know?
Yeah, I mean that. That's the core of it, man. And when you're making that decision, it's you have to be willing. It's like the painter that I usually coach. He's like, man, I can't get out of the painting. I'm like, dude, you're just occupying a $25 an hour role right now. Like we can find someone for $25 an hour and give you your time, which would allow you to do sales. And don't you think you could make more than $25 an hour doing sales? And now I'm talking to you saying, okay, well, what are you making per year doing sales? Can't you make
I
more
pay, yeah,
doing growth?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's just like you said, it's a mindset you have to switch and not think, I'm losing out on this money. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's so many things that I need to focus on when it comes to production right now. I hired a project manager. He's not a project manager. No one wants to work with him. He can't get along with anybody. It's a huge inhibitor.
In
So that needs,
residential sales, residential painting, which is what you're doing, the crew leader should be the freaking project manager. I
yeah.
mean, what is he really managing?
He's more of a he's a painter.
How much are you
He's
paying it?
$30 an hour
$30 an hour. And
plus 1.5% if we're over
when
if
you
we're
say
in.
project manager, what is his day to day?
So he does material distribution some of the time. I do it a lot of the time too. Kind of starts the projects. He's hands on every project, and then he does a lot of my custom stuff. He does a lot of the cabinet refinishing, uh, door refinishing. Um, so kind of
Did
the
you
high end stuff.
elevate him to that role prematurely?
Oh, I hired him for that role, and I shouldn't
Okay.
have done that. I didn't know who I was dealing with. He's very hard to get along with from everyone. This is from three people. They're three different people now. Have told me that.
So what is
He
your
almost got
next
in a
move?
fist fight. Um, I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Let him go.
He's really good. He is a craftsman. If
Okay, but
anything, I'd have to take him and let him work alone.
and if he wants to work alone, that's fine. But the conversation, I mean, it's very hard to give someone an elevated position in business and then take that away. Okay.
Right.
If somebody's almost getting into a fist fight, I can tell you right now that you're prioritizing his skill set over his character.
Yeah.
Okay. And anytime you compromise on that, you're heading for calamity. You are. I mean, it's going to happen, whether it's
Yeah.
an interaction with a customer, right? Being defensive, right? Or not following your way that you want things done for the brand, which is going to happen. And I've seen it. Has something like that come up where it's like, hey, man, I want you to do things this way, and he does it his own way?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's gone too far when I haven't charged the customer. He's going above and beyond and doing all this extra stuff, and I'm like, dude, why is this taking another day? And that cost me a lot with his price point.
I think that the way you reorganize the organizational chart of your company, I think what you should be doing after you get sales squared away is you should be that project manager. You should be that guy managing efficiency. I think just at least until you get that under control and you're building the
Yeah.
teams and you're with those teams, because the goal would be as soon as you get that salesperson to maximize production, maximize it, figure
And I
out what
kind of
that
feel
number is.
like I should fill that role for a minute before I just try to hire someone for it. I've felt like that ever since I hired him. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right on that.
I mean, it's not a difficult role. I mean, ultimately, you're maybe showing up, start and finish. Um, I mean, it's. I think it's a good role for you to be involved in.
Yeah.
And but with the goal of, hey, I need to find the right guy, because once you get 6 or 7 jobs going, now you need someone in a truck full time. Dealing with issues, dealing with touch ups, dealing with customers. I mean, you need that guy. I think on that $30 an hour role that you have this individual, if you want to keep him, you know, we got to decide, is he going to be a craftsman or is he going to be, a manager? And a manager, dude, is a people person. He's the one who's interacting with clients. Think about this. If you hired my painting company, like you're dealing with like our office from that point forward, and that's managing your project. We're getting your colors figured out. We're getting you excited about the project. We're taking any notes about special things that need to be happening throughout that project. Like if the guy that you're hiring isn't that guy, he's not a project manager.
Yeah, he's not.
He needs to
He's
be, you
not.
need to have a point of contact for all project related instances. Someone that they can call relating to the project, every bit of it. Like, hey, I need to change the color in the bathroom. Can you make sure you get that taken care of? Now, sometimes the office admin does that, but
Yeah,
ultimately,
she's doing a lot of that.
yeah. So I mean, but also that project manager, he's that point of contact during the project too. You
Yep.
know, that the customer feels comfortable calling and it's not Ryan, you know?
Right. And, just like I engulfed myself in that sales role, figured out everything about it, now I can pass the baton off. Same with the project management.
Yeah,
Like you said, if I did that for a while, I could see exactly what I need to fill the role.
absolutely. Absolutely. But to get that organizational chart figured out, and what I would do if I were you is, well, let me ask you this, man. Like, how many crews do you have now? You said you have 6 painters full
Yep, we have
time.
six paint. Yep, full time painters. So we
How many
do.
subs?
I have two subs and then two 1099 contractors. They're basically employees. They're just not categorized that way.
So you have 6 painters, you have 2 subs, and two 1099 potential employees later down the line. Let's talk about the employee model. Do you have those painters working in teams of three?
We have teams of two.
Okay, so you can run teams of two. So you have 3 crews.
And then anytime those independent contractors, they work for me full time. Those independent contractors, they fill any
Do they
role if
work
we need a
together
3-man team.
or do they work?
They Most of the time they work together.
So you use those 1099 independent contractors to come in and help where needed.
Yes, but they're really good. They worked for my grandfather, a long time ago. They're really good
How come
painters.
you haven't
So
converted them to employees?
they just don't want to be employees. They want to be contractors.
All right, piece of
One of them's
advice.
operating through an LLC, but
I got you. Piece of advice. It's your way or the highway. That's how it's got to be. Remember, we're building a scalable, sellable asset. Okay.
yep,
Just remember that. It's your way or the, hey, I'm sorry, man. That's the way we have to do it. That's our accountant needs it that way. That's how it's
yep,
got to be. Because you and I both know that's not clean. Keep it clean.
no,
Everything's got to be clean so we can package it up and increase the value of this operation. If we're making exceptions for people, it is what it is. I mean, that's just not good business. I don't
right.
care how good you are. I mean, unless they're independent, you got them working with the painters. So that's I would clean that up. And then what about the
Yeah.
subs?
I mean, dude, God has blessed me with these subs, man. They
Since
are
the
some of the
beginning, these
best
are your
painters I've
guys.
ever. So those people I can't work with anymore. Their quality has come down a
Okay,
lot.
but you got some good
It's
subs.
I got some subs, dude. They're
Why don't you
some
just
of the
make the
best painters ever.
1099 a 2-man team if they don't want to be employees and just have them be a sub team?
They basically are,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's basically that way.
Okay. Here's how I look at it. I think an employee-based business is more valuable.
I agree.
It,
I don't even know all the ins and outs, but it just feels right
it
too.
feels right. That is your asset. Again, if our end goal, we always work backwards, man. If the end goal is to package up this thing and give it to someone else, well, we could say, hey, we have this long Excel spreadsheet of subcontractors that we work with. Or no, I got 20 full-time employees. I got 2 project managers. I got 2 salespeople, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
probably a better business to sell, right? I like building it that way. And I think, if you have a great subcontractor crew, perfect. Um, how have you found the employees so far?
Indeed.
Cool.
We put an Indeed campaign out, and dude, it
Good
flooded in.
rock.
I had some really bad hires in the beginning, showing up drunk. Like I almost lost a commercial account. They almost kicked me off the
Wow.
job and canceled the contract.
It was that bad.
Yep, yep. 3 people showed up intoxicated. It was bad. Yeah,
Learning curve, man. Learning curve.
learning curve. Yeah,
It's not easy. It's not easy. And this is
no,
another area, man, where you could be focusing on because you and I both know that, like, dude, when you're in a hiring sprint, how exhausting is it?
it's oh my god,
It
it's
sucks.
like nothing I've done in the business yet.
But it's important. So you're like, dude, this sucks, but I have to do this. Like I have
You
to
have to do it.
go
Yep,
through these applications. I've got to sit down with these people and I got to figure out who I'm going to let move in. And like, dude,
yep.
that's another thing, that you could be building. But like, dude, I think like your goal should be get your brother-in-law in. Figure out the details. I'd start him off slow. Say, look, man, I don't know where we're going to head and I just need maybe a couple months to figure it out. What you asked is not off the table, but let's start off with just commission right now. I would provide him a vehicle if he doesn't have one. I'd get it wrapped. Do you have a wrap sales vehicle?
We don't. I'm in the process right now of doing that. But honestly, again, that's another question. It's like, do I lease it, write the lease off 100%? Do I pay cash for the
Ask me any
vehicle? And
questions. I don't mind, dude. Anything you're
what
thinking
would
of,
you do?
what would I do is I'd finance it. I finance
Okay.
anything I can, possibly. I love financing. It's great. Generally
So
speaking,
no lease, just finance it.
if you do a lease, you're tied to the mileage. You don't need a new vehicle. I found a 2010 Prius C on Facebook Marketplace. I got it for 7 grand,
Oh,
and it was bright orange. Our colors are orange and blue, so I did a
oh
partial
man.
wrap on it. And let me tell you something, dude. Not many painting companies are pulling up in a wrap sales vehicle. And let me
Yeah,
tell you,
for sure.
psychologically, think about it. If you are getting quotes from companies and one comes up in a wrap vehicle, you instantly think that that company's professional. I mean, it's just
Yep.
like that's one of the easiest ways to build. And you park that thing right in the driveway or right in front of the house, dude. Just boom,
Yeah.
Paint Pro
Yeah.
wrap. So
Yeah. There's a Raptor down the street for sale. It's Paint Pro colors. It's light blue. It's got light blue accents and everything. But I'm not buying a Raptor. Don't worry. But
I don't think, dude.
yeah. So
I've seen
that's
people. Yeah, I would just get him something good on gas. Like, dude, Prius. Look for a Prius C. It doesn't matter, dude. He's there. He's there to sell, but he's gonna be driving a lot, And you just want
yeah.
to make that's another perk, dude. It's like, here, man, let's do this. I think you
And
got to
then what
realize.
about go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say too, a van. I need a company van
Are all the
as
painters
well.
driving their own vehicles? How are you getting the materials to the job?
Yeah, and dude, it's just sloppy. It's like, oh, we don't have drywall mud.
That's
I
all
need
right.
another can of
Been there.
Trent paint. That's. I think a van would solve a lot of those problems. Keeping stuff stocked and inventoried on the truck.
All right. So you have 3 jobs going. How many jobs are going on right now?
We have 3 jobs going on right now, and we
And
need to
on
start a.
those jobs, everyone's just using their own vehicles, right?
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone have a pickup truck?
My project manager has a pickup truck.
He's the only one?
Yep. The other guys have SUVs, but it's like, oh, my SUV it crapped out this morning. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan, dude, here's the deal, man. Like I want you to think like this. I'm gonna take you out of your shoes real quick, okay? You're not Ryan right now. Your name's Steve, okay? Steve
okay.
walks into that gym right now and sits down and listens to that conversation. Here's a hungry business owner, okay, who quit his job, is all in, sits down with you. Here's the story of your growth, identifies upward momentum of $700,000 in sales. Okay. And he's hearing that Ryan has no vans for his team and he's lacking in some areas and needs some resources. Right. So
Yep.
this smart investor would say, listen, dude, I'll give you $25,000 right now. Soak it into this business. Because guess what? You're on an upward momentum and I believe in you. Okay. It's good investment for him, right? You need to give yourself the money and get the stuff you need, bro. I mean, prepare for
Yeah.
the growth. You need to go find, here's what you do. You need to go to your bank, okay, and you say, hey, I'm going to need some vehicle loans, okay? I need $15,000 3 times. That's for 3 vans. And you're going to finance all 3 of them. It's a $45,000 loan. The payment on that's going to be about $1,000 a month. Then you're going to need insurance for the vans. That's going to be another $1,000 a month. So you're looking at $2,000 a month to have some white vans. Don't worry about wrapping them. But if you want, you can build in the wrap cost into the financing. So you can say, okay, I'm going to buy $15,000 vans, get Chevy 2500s, they're all over the place, or GMCs, and say, hey, I need an additional $2,500 for the wrap. So now you're financing 17.5, and they cut the check to the wrap place, and now you have 3 wrap vehicles.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Or you could do 60 grand and get the car. So you got 60K in vehicles under the business. I mean, this is just a matter of maneuvering the money, or if you have the money, then ultimately, you be the bank. But I probably use use bank's money if you can.
Well, I went yesterday. I went to 3 banks. 2 of them don't do business with businesses. One of them, we'll see. But I've only been in business
You need to go
11
to a
months.
credit union.
That's I have an appointment with them today actually. The
I'm
same,
a
yeah.
I'm a I'm a credit. I used to work at a credit union. You want to go to a credit union, and you said that obviously the problem is that you have to provide P&Ls, right? That's what they want to see. They want to see your tax returns. And is your wife working?
No.
Okay, so right now you can't prove income.
Oh, I pay myself $2,000 a week.
And uh okay, so and that's through payroll?
Yep.
Okay. So you'll just be a co-signer on that loan. It
Right.
should be fine. Credit unions will work with you. But I think the key here is to make sure you're getting an equitable vehicle. So you got to negotiate those deals. You need to be on Facebook Marketplace and type in work fan. Bro, they're all over, dude. You can
I'm
negotiate.
all over them, dude. Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I mean, even if it's just getting one to start, bro, it'll take the pressure off. I
Yeah.
provide gas every week for the person driving it. That's another component is you got to identify who that driver's going to be, who's responsible, to take those sprayers home, get those sprayers in the van, clean out the van, keep it up, keep it looking good. Do you have someone in mind for each crew that
I do.
could, you know,
I do. I got a really solid guy I'd like to build up to a project manager. He's been great from day one.
love it.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from that, man, I wouldn't wait, man. You're on an upward momentum. You'll be at 1.5 next year, or maybe
Yeah.
more. Don't
Yep.
play small anymore, man. You got to get the van. The van's going to be a game changer. It's going to give you peace of mind knowing that they have what they need. They can get where they need to go. You know,
Yep.
if you
I
get,
can feel it. Yeah.
that's what I have. I have four vans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I can tell that's the next step. And one of the guys mentioned it the other day too. He's like, "Hey man, dude, all four of my painters came from Wow One Day Painting. They just hated it, and they came over. And one of them was like, "Hey man, it's really nice to have a van. It's like you got everything you need. It's like if you thought about doing that." And I was just like, "Oh man, it's necessary."
Let me ask you this, man. What stopped you from doing it?
I don't know. I mean, I have the cash to do it, so even if I just did that, yeah, I
I
should
want you
do
to
it.
work on this, Ryan, because the thing is, you're in the abyss now, brother. You're on the island now. You did it. It took you a long time to quit that job. When I bet you and I could sit here and talk about how you should have done it sooner, right?
Oh yeah, yep,
Right. So
yep,
you did the biggest risk ever, ever in your professional life was what you just did.
yep,
The problem that you might make is playing small now. That's not the game. The game is to double down on that muscle you just activated of
yep,
risk, right? And it's like, dude, whatever needs to be done, do it. Like, you have no problem going to the gym. I mean, you know how many people struggle with that? You just do it. Like, it's just something that's in you. It's just you do it, you do it, you do it. And it took probably a long time to build that muscle of just getting
yep,
there to just get it done. What do
yep.
you bet?
315 multiple times.
Oh, I saw it. Somebody posted a
Yeah,
video. I'm like, dude, this guy's a
yeah,
machine, right?
yeah,
So I've created a muscle where if I have something to do, I don't look at the money. I look at the impact. And whether
yeah,
that impact is intrinsic or it's for my business, the impact is always going to outweigh the money. Don't worry about it. Don't think loss, think investment. Don't think loss, think investment. Everything up until this point going on is an investment. As an employee, when you worked as an employee, everything was a loss because you traded your time for the money,
yep,
right?
yep,
It's a different game now.
yep. I mean, it was all. I want to speak into that a little bit. It was always. I wonder how early I can get off and get home. Now, dude, every day it's what can I get done? What more can I get done today? Getting home early, it feels like I've done myself a huge disservice. It's the strangest switch but I've noticed it so regularly.
It's
It's
fun.
like it is fun. It is fun. Getting things done is fun. Like accomplishing, just making tomorrow easier.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
My thing for you, I look at it like this. You're on a positive momentum, build off of it. You're attracting your brother-in-law to want to go all in with you. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Say, let's do it. Let's do it. I know how you work. I know how you are. Let's build this thing. Let's scale this thing. You have a partner to go. It's more of a partnership at that point. It's somebody that's not just a salesperson. He's watching your back. That's
Yep.
invaluable. If your goal is to scale, if you just want $1 million a year business and you're happy making
No way.
100K, no way, dude. No
I
way.
want
You
to be
won't.
the biggest in Nashville. We will be. I
You will
promise you, we will be.
and run it. And you need the right
Yeah.
pieces of the puzzle. That's how I
Yep.
am with drip jobs, dude. I'm recruiting the best of the best to build this thing. Like it doesn't just happen. I'm not coding right now. You don't want me playing around on the keyboard, dude. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Right.
I know that I want A players around me. And there were times where I brought in people that I didn't even think I could afford, but I knew that I needed their talent and their skill set to contribute to our mission because I know where we're going.
Yep.
So get them. And at the end of the day, man, the van thing, that's a no-brainer. You should make that the biggest focus. Get your team what they need. You don't want the production to be halted or slowed down or the perception. Here's another thing that I want you to focus on. There's an expectation gap that could be occurring between the sale, which is usually an A plus 99.9% experience with you. I'm sure it is. I mean, you're
Yep.
an absolute assassin. Okay. I know that. And you come in with poise, you're professional, you probably have a really beautiful presentation. But let me ask you this. When the painters get there, is there a gap between the emotional intensity from the sale to when the production happens, whether that's them seeing the painters pull up in cars or the process isn't quite what they were sold? And that's natural. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. Your
Yep.
job as a CEO is to elevate that production to where it matches, or the production should actually exceed. Does that make sense?
100%. Dude, that is my goal. It's not just, I don't want to just sell it. I want the customer to have an amazing experience.
You want to
No
exceed,
cheese, yeah, no fluff. I really want to exceed expectations.
and
Yeah.
that requires intense focus. That's not something that naturally occurs. I
Right.
wish it did. If that naturally occurred without a management level input, bro, we would be cruising. But it's not natural. Your team isn't going to do that. They're just focused on painting. Your
Right.
job as the manager is to emphasize the experience element in the business.
Yep.
And that's what gets
Yep.
people running to leave you a review, running to tell their friends about you because they feel like they owe you because you undersold the value, which is what you want.
Yep. Yep. I even have a conviction now too about, I just ordered a bunch of shirts and I haven't pulled the trigger on it because it's a lot of money. 100 shirts, it's like $1,700. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You gotta just, these guys need the shirts, you know?
I want you to just think for the next, bro, this is like, I want you to consider this. The rest of this year is like the preliminaries. It's boot camp. This is not the year. This wasn't your year to just like make your money. This is your investment year, dude.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
laying the foundation of the skyscraper and you're compromising on whether you want to use steel beams or you want to use iron beams because you're thinking about what's in front of you. But let me tell you, dude, you might not see this right now, but in 3 years from now, dude, you could have something really special and impact a lot of lives. And that's worth putting the money in, paying the 1,700 for the gear, getting
Yeah.
some good branding on your vehicles. I mean, wrap the car, get a van for your team, bring in the brother-in-law who's passionate and is married to your sister and so into your family and his kids, your
Yeah.
sister's kids. They know that their dad is in a good environment and he's growing mentally. You guys will probably wind up working out together and building each
Yeah.
other up and sharpening each other's swords.
Yep. I thought about putting him on my membership up here at Lifetime as like a perk. Yeah, he needs to work out
Don't
anyways, you know.
think about it.
He's
Is
getting a
if
little
it
thick in the
felt good in the
midsection.
thought, if it felt good in the thought, then that's the thing. And it's like, okay, that
Absolutely.
felt good. There's something there that I felt about providing a membership. Hey, not only that, I'm going to pay for your membership. Me and you are going to sharpen each other's swords every 3 days.
Yep.
If your mind and your body aren't sharp, if you're out of shape and you're not working on yourself, you're not going to be able to convey to a customer that we are the choice because you don't believe in yourself. You're not confident.
Right.
So
Yep.
you're working now you become a personal development coach to your team, which requires
Yep.
you're going to have to be a part-time therapist, part-time personal development coach if you want magic to happen in your
Yep.
organization.
Yep. I
I love
believe
it.
it. Me
You
too.
already invested in CCU. You went down to Orlando with Alex and Aiden. How was that, man?
It was awesome. I mean, we had I started doing cabinets before I knew anything about cabinets. People just
okay.
said, "Hey, I want some cabinets refinished." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem." It was so hard, you know. Just it was way harder than I anticipated. So getting down there and just getting a sprayer in my hand and applying the coatings and doing the prep work, it was, I needed it. I had to have it to be successful. And now we're building 30 by 60 shop in my backyard. We got all the groundworks done right now. So we're going to have a full spray booth. We're going to have an
Love it.
office in the front. It's going to be sick. So we're breaking ground on that at the end of this month.
Big investment, but it's
Yeah,
easy for you to see the result and the ROI. I mean, you
yeah,
know that was a no-brainer. But that's
yeah,
not the hard part, dude. The hard part is the things that aren't a no-brainer that like it's not a one-to-one return. Those are the decisions that give you the 10x returns, right? Like
right.
you're bringing your brother-in-law in when you're not ready might feel like it's not the right play right now, but his momentum and energy toward this idea is as high as it's ever going to be right now.
Yep.
Is it not?
No, it is. It is. He's excited to come on board, and I'm almost like,
So let me
why?
tell you,
You got a great gig,
you wait 3 months, it won't be there. It
right?
won't. It'll be life will get in the way. He might get another opportunity somewhere but you got to take advantage of that because the momentum
Yep.
and the energy is what makes it special, right?
Yep.
You don't go back into a hiring pool from people that applied 6 months ago, do you?
No,
Nobody
no, I
does.
don't.
Why? Nobody does. Why? Because we know how important momentum is. You want people that
Yep.
enter in excited into your business because they're going to bring a passion that it's very hard to replicate. You know, if
Yep.
you just call somebody 6 months ago and say, "Hey, you applied to our job," they're like, "Oh, okay." I mean, yeah, and it's a gift at that point,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We covered a lot, man. Was this helpful?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it came at a perfect time. I wanted your input so badly because it's a big decision for me. It's the biggest decision I've made thus far. So yeah,
Aside from
I
quitting your
appreciate you
job,
doing it. Aside from quitting my job, yeah, that was
I mean,
huge.
that was a big decision. So
Yeah, and
you
hey,
got
I don't think I told you that when I quit my job, the owner of that company, he said, "Hey, you know what? I think God's going to bless you. I support you." He said, "I want you to paint my office building, 30,000 square feet, and I want you to go paint my house, three
what?
story."
No
Dude, it was
way.
yeah, yeah. It's like $50,000 total is
Wow,
spending
bro.
with me.
That's a leader. That's
Yeah,
somebody that I like, you know.
yep,
Not many people would do that. You know,
yeah,
but model that, right? He gave up something that was short term for something that you'll never forget and you just told me about it because it was so impactful. And be that type of
yeah,
person, man, with your team. Be that type of person that your brother-in-law says when his customers are nuts to bolts on an estimate and he's like, "You know what? The leader of this company, my brother-in-law, I mean, he's one heck of a guy." That's the stuff that sells. When the
yeah,
painters are like, you know, because customers will ask him, like, how do you like working for the company you work for? And what is their honest reaction? It's like, oh, I love it. You know, Ryan
yeah,
has our back. Like, this company means everything to me. And that'll
yeah,
show through every bit of your business. So
yeah.
good luck, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
And we'll see you at
I'm
Contractor Impact
amen to
2024,
that.
man.
I'll be
Come
there.
come hang out with us.
Eighth speaker right
Contractorimpact.com.
here.
Contractorimpact.com, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm
Thank you,
excited
man.
about that.
Yeah, man. We're trying to bring the industry together, create some impact, some value.
Yep, that's so
Good luck to
awesome.
you, man.
I
Keep me
appreciate it,
updated.
Tanner. Thanks for your time.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself.
All right. See you,
All
buddy.
right, man.